It's February and it's time for my second annual Salute to African American History Month. February is a short month, but short or not, I am going to recognize the accomplishments of four African Americans in history. I hope you enjoy this installment and learn something along the way. So let's go. A. Phillip Randolph was born April 15, 1889. He was a trade unionist and civil rights leader who was an influential figure in the struggle for justice and equality for African Americans. The son of a Methodist minister, Randolph moved to Harlem District of New York City in 1911. He attended the City College at night and with Chandler Owen established the employment agency through which he attempted to organize black workers. In 1917, following the entry of the United States into World War I, the two men founded a magazine, The Messenger. After 1929, it was known as The Black Worker. It called for more positions for blacks in the war industry and the armed forces. After the war, Randolph lectured at New York's Rand School of Social Science and ran unsuccessfully for offices on the Socialist Party ticket. In 1929, as founding president of the Brotherhood of Sleeping Car Porters, Randolph began organizing the group of black workers, and at the time when half of the affiliates of the American Federation of Labor, or the AFL, barred blacks from membership, took his union into the AFL. Despite opposition, he built the first successful black trade union. The Brotherhood won its first major contract with the Pullman Company in 1937. The following year, Randolph removed his union from the AFL in protest against its failure to fight discrimination in its ranks and took the Brotherhood into the newly formed Congress of Industrial Organizations, or the CIO. He then returned to the question of black employment in the federal government and in industries with federal contracts. He warned President Roosevelt that he would lead thousands of blacks in a protest march on Washington, D.C. Roosevelt, on June 25, 1941, issued Executive Order 8802, barring discrimination in defense industries and federal bureaus and creating the Fair Employment Practices Committee. After World War II, Randolph founded the League for Nonviolent Civil Disobedience Against Military Segregation, resulting in the issue by President Harry Truman on July 26, 1948, of Executive Order 9981, banning racial segregation in the armed forces. When the AFL merged with the CIO in 1955, Randolph was made a vice president and member of the Executive Council of the combined organization. He was the first president, 1960 to 1966, of the Negro American Labor Council, formed by Randolph and others to fight discrimination within the AFL-CIO. In an echo of his activities of 1941, Randolph was a director of the March on Washington for Jobs and Freedom, which brought more than 200,000 persons to the Capitol on August 28, 1963, to demonstrate support for civil rights for blacks. On behalf of the Negro American Labor Council, the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, the Conference of Racial Equality, and the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, Randolph wrote a letter on May 24, 1962, to Secretary Stuart Udall of the Department of the Interior regarding permits for a march culminating at the Lincoln Memorial that fall. Plans for the march were stalled when Udall encouraged the group to consider the Sylvan Theater at the Washington Monument due to the complications of rerouting traffic and the volume of tourists at the Lincoln Memorial. In March 1963, Randolph telegraphed Dr. King that the NALC had begun planning a June march for Negro job rights and asked for King's immediate response. In May, at the height of the Birmingham campaign, King joined Randolph, James Farmer, and Charles McDew of SNCC in calling for such an action later that year, declaring, "Let the black laboring masses speak." After notifying President Kennedy of their intent, the leaders of the major civil rights organizations set the date to march for August 28th. As the summer passed, the list of organizations participating in and sponsoring the event expanded to include the National Association of the Advancement of Colored People, the National Urban League, the National Catholic Conference for Interracial Justice, the National Conference of the Churches of Christ in America, the United Auto Workers, and many others. The March on Washington was not universally embraced. It was condemned by the Nation of Islam and Malcolm X, who referred to it as the farce of Washington, although he did attend. The Executive Board of the American Federation of Labor, Congress of Industrial Organizations, declined to support the march, adopting a position of neutrality. Nevertheless, many constituent unions attended in substantial numbers. 2 years later, Mr. Randolph formed the Phillip Randolph Institute for Community Leaders to study the causes of poverty. Suffering chronic illness, he resigned his presidency of the Brotherhood of Sleeping Car Porters in 1968 and retired from public life. He was later awarded the President Medal of Freedom for his lifelong work for universal civil rights. Randolph died on May 16, 1979, at the age of 90. Thanks for watching my tribute to African Americans in history. The areas I've obtained the information is listed below. If you enjoy my content, please hit that like button and subscribe so you will know when I have some new content coming out. Have a wonderful morning, afternoon, or evening, whatever time you're watching this. Be safe out there, wear your mask, social distance, and all that good stuff. And I will see you next time. Bye for now. Thanks for watching my tribute to African Americans in history. The areas I've obtained the information is listed below. If you enjoy my content, please hit that like button and subscribe so you will know when I have some new content coming out. Have a wonderful morning, afternoon, or evening, whatever time you're watching this. Be safe out there, wear your mask, social distance, and all that good stuff. And I will see you next time. Bye for now.